Dude, did you hear about the stuff that's going on with Ellen DeGeneres? Like, I've been watching her show for a hot ass minute, like a long, long time. And now she's like this hardcore bitch and she's rude as fuck to everybody. And, they say that her cast is not even allowed to speak to her when they go on set. Like, what the fuck? Well, did you research her? Did you check any of her backstory about anything about her or what she's all about? Or anything about beliefs or anything? You do know her family is Christian scientists, right? Like, there's no sympathy, there's no empathy, there's no crying because if you cry, you're weak. I okay, but we raised ourselves to believe that everything we seen and endured, that we were to do the opposite of that, not to fall into the same toxicity pattern. Look, when you're living in a Christian scientist family, there's no empathy. If you cry, you're weak. There's no feeling sorry or feeling bad. There's no weakness. You're not allowed to seem or act weak at all. You are to be hard and just, it's a pretty difficult religion to be brought up in. Take Scientology and Leah Remny. Like, look at all the battles and hurdles that she had to face with Scientology with Leah Remny. And I love her, but you always finding out something that you didn't know. So you can't just, go by how she's acting. You gotta start to see where that stemmed from. Stemmed from. So you're saying that I have to go back and research a person's spiritual beliefs and upbringings and stuff, and you're saying that that could impact the way of her thinking and the way she does things in life? That's exactly what I'm saying. Because she grew up from a young child of like, they they were poor. They were so, they were struggling, their family, and they had these strong beliefs, and her dad was, he was the one that stood on them, and her mom was hard. So I think you know where she's coming from. You're not as hard as she is. Maybe, you're not as cold as she is, but it all makes sense if you think about it. Yeah, I suppose it does. Leah Remny, though, man, that girl, she is a cold ass diva. I heard that she's really nice in person, but of course she's standoffish, right? I'm gonna say the same thing about Leah Remny as I just said about Ellen DeGeneres. Leah came up in a very strict cult like upbringing with Scientology. Now, we're always brought up to trust churches and to believe their word and feel comfortable and safe, as we always get baptized and stuff like that and give ourselves to the Lord. But now we're finding out that Scientology was a church and they were running like a cult. And that anybody who spoke against it or badly, or if anybody from the Scientology was hanging out with somebody that was not, they were shunned upon. So you got to really look into the facts and look into the backstory, because there's so much that goes into things than the eye can see. Yeah, that is insane. That is crazy. Could you imagine being brought up in a life like that and just having everything controlled and everything you do, everything you say, everyone you talk to, everywhere you go? Like you're like this 5 year old child and you're basically on house arrest for the rest of your life and since a very young age, pretty much. And everything you say and do is analyzed, like every little thing. Could you imagine having to go through that? I mean, that's gotta be like, they're strong as hell for being able to make it through to the other end and being able to, talk about it, right? Actually, that's a very valid point. Everybody sees Ellen as this, monster now. When all in reality, growing up, Ellen knew that she wanted to be something. She knew that she wanted to be somebody. She knew that she wanted to do stuff in the world and get her name out there and make an impact on life and on her life and stuff like that. And her having a really hard time coming out and going back and forth with it until she just blurted it out. I mean, that's really big to do. So, I mean, I don't see Ellen as a bad person. I mean, she got in with the Diddy stuff because she was like, oh, cool, I could really, you know, I could shine with this. I could use this and I could become, just greater than I am now. And, do you really think that she, thought about this stuff? Maybe some of her beliefs with that whole situation related back to her religion and her beliefs and her family beliefs and stuff. And now in her adulthood, she wanted to make her own beliefs because she don't believe in her family's beliefs anymore. And it makes a very valid point, don't you think? Yeah. When I was a kid, I went to Praise Tabernacle Church, and I just found out in my adulthood life that they are a holy roly church. I had no idea. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Did you know that? Well, unfortunately, in this new time we have today, churches and stuff like that, organizations, sometimes you get the wrong people in standing, and those wrong people take what is sacred and they turn it into the devil's work. So, I mean, I guess that goes with anything, really, that you should really research any church or establishment or anything to the utmost because you never know what you may or may not uncover. A lot of things are hidden. So many things are hidden that people don't even know until they start to research it and to uncover everything that's been swept under the carpet. And then their lies and everything and their deceit is gonna sit there and it's gonna be front faced. So, at the end of the day, karma wins, right? Yeah, karma's a bitch, ain't it?